Welcome back to Castle Lovestead. Today I'm doing my March wrap-up. Oh, so hot. Ah, ha, ha, ha. C'est le soleil qui m'a brûlé. So it is a spring here in the land of Booklandia, where Castle Lovestead resides. The gardens are starting to come to life, finally. I'm also starting to feel a bit better. I'm starting to feel a bit more human. Starting to get my zest for life back. I don't know if you came here for Zesty Jess, but she is on the way. All right, March. So March was a decent reading month for me. It wasn't like out of this world good, but it wasn't the worst either. I read 12 books and 3,482 pages. The longest book I read was Emma by Jane Austen, was 574 pages. The shortest book I read was The Dysthymia Diaries by Robin Wheeler. I read 2 middle grades, 2 young adults, and 8 adult books. At the start of March, I had 365 books in my bookshelf. And I had read 103 of those books for a percentage of about 30% of my actual books on the bookshelf read. I don't know if that's average, below average, or what. Honestly, I don't really care. I just know I've got books to read and that makes me happy. On my Kindle, I have 221 titles and have read 24 of them as of March. So puts the percentage there at about 10%. Again, don't really care. Let's see, what else can we say about March? So of the books that I read, 3 of the writers were people of color. 1 of the writers was in the LGBTQIA community, and 1 of the writers has a disability. In terms of the publication date, the oldest book I read was published in 1815. Again, that was Emma by Jane Austen. The newest book I read was published in 2020, and that was, or not 2020, 2021. And it was Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead and Root Magic by Eden Royce. They were the 2 newest books that I read. Otherwise, the date range goes 1850, 2006, 2008, 2009, 2014, 2016, another one from 2016, 2 from 2017, 1 from 2018, 2020, and 2 from 2021. For genres, in nonfiction, I read 1 biography or self-help book, which was What Would Frida Do by Ariana Davis. I read 1 critical social analysis, which is The Baddest Librarians of Timbuktu. 1 book about gardening, and 1 book about mental health. In the fiction category, I read 2 mysteries, 1 contemporary, 4 fantasy, 1 classic, 1 graphic novel, and 1 historical fiction. So for star ratings, I want to say it was a pretty average month in terms of star ratings, with maybe just slightly above average ratings. My average star rating on Goodreads, when I look at it, is like 3.12. So my average rating is a 3. So if I have a month that has heavy 3s, like that is my average. But this month had quite a few 4-star ratings. 5-star ratings are pretty rare for me because those are books that have to have changed my life somehow. If you're interested in learning more about how I rate my books, you can check out this video here. So I had 0 5-star ratings, 4 4-star ratings, 5 3-stars, 2 2-stars, and 1 1-star. I did read 1 book in translation, which was my phone beeping at me. I did read 1 book in translation, which was The Promised Neverland, which is a manga. In terms of series, I started 4 new series. Oops. And I only made progress in one series, which was the Lunar Chronicles, which I don't even know if I want to count that because I've already read the Lunar Chronicles. This is a reread. So, girl, I've got a problem. I do plan to continue on with all 4 of those series. Some of them I'm just testing out the next one to see if at that next one, if I do want to continue. And then a couple of them I'm like, yes, I want to read this all the way through. So, oops. In terms of some themes and things that I've been thinking about, so a lot of the themes in the books that I read this month dealt with authenticity and like being your true self and what that actually means. Like, how do you be brutally honest with yourself? How do you actually practice authenticity without authenticity itself becoming a role you're playing? I think right now in social media, and maybe this is past, but like I want to say the past 3 or 4 years, there's been such a push to like be your authentic self and just be you. So much so that that theme of authenticity itself is almost like a new way of not being authentic. You know what I mean? Like authenticity becomes a new like role that we play instead of just actually being ourselves and actually being authentic. So one of the books that really had me thinking about authenticity was What Would Frida Do by Ariana Davis. And this was not a super good book, but it did have a lot of like writing from Frida Kahlo. And Frida Kahlo herself is a magnificent writer, you know, along with just an artist. She's such a rare, wonderful person to learn from. And one of the biggest lessons that I take away from her is like how to actually be authentic, like how to actually be yourself and not make authenticity just a new mask that you wear, but to actually be authentic. And anyway, that book really inspired me and I wanted to read more Frida Kahlo, and not just like biographies, but I wanted to read Frida Kahlo's own writing. So I did purchase 2 new books here in March. The first one was The Letters of Frida Kahlo, and these are her letters that she writes, and they are in translation. And then the second book that I got was The Diary of Frida Kahlo. This book is so beautiful because not only does it have like her actual diary pages, it's almost like they just scanned in the diary pages because there's like her paintings in here and everything, and like the majority of this book is like her actual diary, which I won't be able to read. I don't read Spanish, but thankfully there is a translation towards the end. So yeah, so that book did inspire me to get some actual writing from Frida Kahlo, to just explore how she works to be her own authentic self, because queen's gotta be a queen. Some other themes that kept cropping up for me this month were found family. So in Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, there's found family there. There is found family in The Promised Neverland. There's found family in Johnny Appleseed. And then a lot of the themes from the books as well dealt with like earth-based spirituality and just like making nature your church. So like root magic deals with working root, which is an earth-based spirituality. Excuse me. Johnny Appleseed talks about different Native American traditions. Specifically, I think that he is Cree, if I'm remembering correctly, and so we really looked a lot at like that part of spirituality. And Johnny Appleseed too talks a lot about authenticity and what authenticity looks like. One of my favorite lines from that book was "Be your own best medicine." It just so good, so good. And then root magic had me rethinking my meat consumption and whether or not I wanted to go back to being vegetarian again. Like, it just had me really questioning some ethics around treatment of animals because of a particular scene in that book. So those are some of the prominent themes and overlapping ideas that I found recurring in these books that I read this month, and things that they really had me thinking about: authenticity, found family, earth-based spirituality and magic, and meat consumption and vegetarianism. So the book of the month, my book of the month is basically the book that I liked the best. My crown keeps wanting to fall right off, and girl, you cannot do that. Where'd it go? Book of the month, there it is. So my book of the month, or the book that I liked the most this month, it was kind of a tie between Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead and Winter Girls by Lori Halse Anderson. Winter Girls wins it by just a squeak because of the way that she utilizes literary devices to illustrate mental illness that I thought was absolutely brilliant. So I will be talking more about the books in depth as the month of April goes along, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details about individual books here in this wrap up. I will share with you the books that I did read here quickly. What Would Frida Do by Ariana Davis. I rated that 3 stars out of 5. Granny's Got a Gun by Harper Lynn, 3 stars out of 5. Crest by Marissa Meyer, 4 stars out of 5. The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, 3 stars out of 5. The Badass Librarians of Timbuktu by Joshua Hammer, 1 star out of 5. The Promised Neverland Volume 1 by Kayu Shirai and Posuka Demizu, 4 stars out of 5. Root Magic by Eden Royce, 3 stars out of 5. The Witching Flower by Samantha Silver, 3 stars out of 5. Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead, 4 stars out of 5. Container Gardening for the Midwest by William Aldrich, 2 stars out of 5. The Dysthymia Diaries by Robin Wheeler, 2 stars out of 5. Emma by Jane Austen, 4 stars out of 5. And Winter Girls by Lori Halse Anderson, 4 stars out of 5. I do want to mention some shout outs for different things that are happening in BookTube land right now. So Lee from Lee's Library has done some really interesting videos. She has done a March Madness, which she puts so much work into March Book Madness, and you should really go check it out. Such a creative idea. She's doing a lot of really fun things on her channel, so go check out her channel. In April, there is a Disability Readathon, and I will link you to the channel hosting the Disability Readathon. There is also a Lit with Indian Lit Readathon going on, where folks are reading Indian Lit in translation. I will link you to that readathon down below. My friend Helen at Helen's Book Haven is hosting Eurovision-a-thon, which is a readathon based on the Eurovision Song Challenge that happens in Europe. So I will link you to that down below. And if you know of any other reading challenges like that that are happening, please share them in the comments. I know the Roomies Digest is doing a read-along of The Cruel Prince. And there's probably some other like read-alongs and book clubs and things happening that I am not aware of. So yeah, so check those out. I will leave the links to those things in the description box down below. And that'll do it for today's wrap-up video. Looking forward to some good reading in April. So until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye!